I'm going to play a second game of Rapid as the first game was over fairly quickly. I'm only going to be playing the odd game here and there, not too many in any one go. Now, just like I had, that question mark is provisional. 1507, good luck. That should be green there. Okay, my opponent is now online. We'll just play a Caracan. Okay, take, so just keep it traditional. Take with the pawn. Okay. I'm just going to develop here, keep the bishop in reserve for blocking and just develop. Bring the knight up. I'm just aiming to get castled. I put the bishop on either square. There is bishop down, which he's gone for. So I'll challenge the bishop immediately. Okay, now how do we want to do this? I'm just going to go cautiously. It is a game of Rapid. See, make a sloppy mistake in one of these games and it's much more likely to be punished, even though there's a rating gap. It's going to be harder to turn it around when your opponent's got a lot of time. Now, I think I can just push forward here. I've got to pay attention and be careful, but I think I can. The queen's not coming out. I'm trying to take control of the centre, at least for now. I could have tried to look to play a bishop up to stop him castling, I guess, but for now we'll just challenge the centre. Just hope we're not blundering some sort of tactic. I don't think we are, but you never know. Well, just castle, shift the queen, maybe drop the bishop back to break the pin again. Right, so we've both castled, so bishop back to break this pin. And maybe chuck this pawn down the board. It's a little bit on its own here. So try and deal with it while we've got lots of pieces left. The knight's gone back. Yeah, I want to break that pin. I don't want to leave that pin as it is. There's always a chance for moves like this. He kind of could do that anyway now, I guess, but... See, knight down, queen up, takes, takes. Now I'll maybe have to advance a pawn. That's what he's gone for. So I'm probably going to look to play a move like e5, just so I can shift the queen out of the way. Unless he does f4, of course, which he might do. I guess I've got bishop up here as well for an initial pin on there. You can always play rook across, but I could trade the bishop for the knight then. Otherwise, we've got opposite coloured bishops. But yeah, if we get a chance to, we're probably going to have to push. Has he just blundered, or has he just done that deliberately to tempt me? There is no queen up, so here... I think he's just blundered. So I'm going to go for it. I don't see the knockout blow. There might be one and I'm just not seeing it. And obviously I'm playing a little bit quickly here. I should really slow down given that it's a 10-minute game. But it looks like a piece for a pawn. And there's no easy just instant queen up with a direct attack on the king. There might be in a few moves time, of course, but nothing just immediate. Let's get the mouse off the board and just see what happens. Right, so where does this knight go? I can even play my knight back and use it as a giant pawn. Knight forward, it's an instant target, but it does then give us a check. But the knight check's covered. I could play a pawn forward here and say, well, this pawn's fairly advanced, so I'll just push it anywhere. Or I can drop the knight back and double guard it. But then the queen's getting in a bit easier. So I'm just going to push the pawn forward. It's still guarded by the knight. I've just got to watch out for these ideas now. But I'd quite like the knight forward. Not necessarily that easy to do. So maybe e5 could be a target move. So he's gone back. So I'm going to play e5. The bishop guards the pawn and it could potentially come forward now. There is a threat here and I can go forward again. Queen across is covered, at least for one move. Knight forward might be a move to challenge his knight. Okay, he's gone there. So knight back, not quite. Okay, knight back is a potential move I'm looking at, but this pawn would fall. Bishop up, this pawn would fall. I don't see anything better than just pushing my pawn. Now, queen up to challenge the knight might be a move. Of course, my opponent's got queen down as well. So got to be careful here. But at least bishop up now is a potential move to guard the pawns. So that's a potential. As long as I can keep my king safe and I don't allow the queen to somehow get around the back. Yeah, I'm playing a little bit too quickly here, aren't I? Still got over 8 minutes left. Obviously, it is rapid, this not blitz, so we've got time. It's a very attacking move. So if I take, oh, my opponent's king is getting open. The queen still can't come in. But I do have queen up here now to challenge the knight directly. The knight's got no escape squares anywhere now, so it could be trapped. And pawn up, I can take en passant, and it's still trapped, right? So I think queen up just to hit the knight, and it looks stuck. F4 is a potential move. I can take en passant. The knight can still then go back because of the pin. Doesn't do it, pushes forward. Okay, so now can I push? I can come back here. I can still develop the bishop like I was going to. I can push before my opponent pushes, but it might let the queen in. Of course, if this gets challenged, that's a problem. I don't want the knight here, so I'm going to challenge it. I'm going to try and get that knight off the board. Remember, we are up a piece. We've got the extra bishop, albeit for a pawn. But now f5 might become a potential move. My king's very open anyway. If I can get the queen off, that would be obviously a dream position. And whilst we're in the line of the rook, there's always a potential for this pawn push at the right moment, and we won't be able to take back, so something to look out for. But otherwise, bishop to e6 looks strong. It just guards both of these pawns. It connects the rooks, completes development. Bishop f5 could be strong, just in case the queen gets on this diagonal. But obviously it does take away the possibility of a quick attack with a pawn push. So I'm leaning towards bishop e6. Rook up there, I'm not sure quite what that's aimed at. So I'm just going to do the bishop e6. I'm not sure what threat that creates. It does allow me a very quick potential attack, and that's my opponent wants me to do that to open the king's defences up, but it seems sensible anyhow. Just march a pawn right up. Although I guess this could be good. Even if I get a pawn all the way up here, white can just simply close the position down. So I might be better pushing this pawn in any event. In which case there's not much point pushing this one. Okay, now I think rook here with a view to potentially going forward makes sense. And pushing this outer pawn makes sense to me. So I'm going to do that now. The rook now can't come this way. So I'm going to try and deal with my isolated pawn. Obviously, I'd be very pleased if my opponent came forward and traded the queens. Being up a piece, it would make very good sense. Both of our kings would then be a lot safer. Now, I can't believe he's going to sack there. I'd be very happy if he did. So he probably wants me to push and push. But it might make good sense to do it while I've got momentum. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to threaten to just simply push and trap the rook. Again, the rook's suddenly got a shortage of squares with this pawn being here. If goes here, I can even potentially not take and push on and have a really nice advanced pawn wall, but there is a threat to push and trap the rook. Get the mouse off the board so we can't do any accidental pre-moves or anything. But yeah, the big danger would be if the queen can somehow get in and get to the king, but it feels like a decent position for me, this, subject to not blundering it away, which I'm perfectly capable of doing. Okay, so it's just pushed the pawn, so I'm just looking at pawn forward now. It seems like it just traps the rook. I don't see any escape squares. I'm not seeing any other better candidate moves. Pawn forward, queen down, I simply trade and take the rook, so I think this should just win the game. Probably have to just take, and I'll take here. Then there must be some good move for me to just defend the king. I even just drop the queen back. I think rook takes pawn is obviously my opponent's best try. Maybe rook to d3 and I take with a pawn and then the structure is broken up. Okay, it does take. Now you don't go here and blunder check, that would just lose the game on the spot. But queen across looks sensible here. Stop the queen coming in. Stop all the checks. So I'm just going to shuffle across so there's no immediate one move threat from the queen. Then I can activate my spare rook. We can consider trying to push these pawns at the right moment. Oh, it does trade. Didn't see anything better, so obviously now a clean rook up, it should be a formality. But amateur chess games are never over till they're actually over. One mouse slip, one wrong move, and the game just turns. Okay, I'm just going to come across and hit the pawn. And then maybe just push here now, try and blast it open. I can bring the king forward as well, maybe. Then that would free up my rook. Okay, so pawn forward is obviously a move, but I think it makes sense to bring the king up first to guard my pawn, then it frees up my rook to go somewhere. Like I said, nothing wrong with my opponent playing on. I could easily do one little blunder somewhere. Oh, but my opponent does resign, so we get another win.